No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Bye
All
forever,
gone.
everyone.
Yeah, it's bye
Until
forever
tomorrow, at
after
least.
this.
You know, no conversation.
Thank God!
Honestly.
Finally! Fuck! Oh my God!
Alright.
I'm being emotional.
Meanwhile, we're all here just throwing jokes around.
There is no episode title name this time. We are just back today with our epilogue. And a wall of text that I will be reading to you and trying not to stumble over. Yay me.
Ooh, good luck!
Thanks. Oh, me.
We believe in you.
I know it's the
You got
wrong
this.
character, but Tankanos, take a guidance.
Thanks.
I'll give you a bardic inspiration.
I'll give him a
Tankanos.
guidance. Nash will give him guidance. He gets bardic inspiration from Rawless. Nash gives guidance.
So,
Ayaki points and laughs.
we will
Enhance
kidding.
ability and bardic inspiration.
start with our immediate conclusions. As silence falls over the chamber, realization hits Klain of his new role. About 12 seconds later, what would have been round 5 of combat, a portal opens up just outside the chamber, and a familiar pink Illithid steps through with a confused look on their face. At around the same time, monstrous vines break through the window behind, as Tokahana's voice can be heard shouting out for the crew, although her concern too quickly turns into confusion. 2 more heroic actions that were not needed.
We appreciate the help.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, honestly.
After a quick discussion, they realized just how quickly the party was about to turn the tables and prevent what could have been further destruction. Enna goes back to her scoffing ways, but confirms what Klain knows to be true in his heart. Their entire cosmic wheel has been shifted and moved through time and space. She expresses that they are extremely lucky. Nope, already happened. That their firmament between planes was relatively strong before the forced movement. Now, however, she is unaware of what this change will mean. Their proximity to Anvilis, similar to Elkest, a place she borrowed Aura from, it's closer than any 2 cosmic wheels have ever been before, and Elkest is already ongoing its own instability issues with its cosmic wheel due to Kite's past actions. As the party gathers themselves to leave, Klain catches himself, realizing that he can't actually leave. Check the city. His newfound duty, as he will soon be known as, the Guardian of the Hourglass. As the party bids farewell, promising to come back shortly and share news of the city with Klain, he finds himself alone. A feeling he will have to come to terms with in order to guide this world into one with Aura. For the rest of the group, and no, I did not make a new map,
Okay.
the rest of the group makes their way outside to assess the damages done to the city. Luckily, thanks to their swift action, about only 30 seconds or so had passed. The physical damages done to the city are rather minimal, but as they explore the city, they find a stark contrast of how full and bustling the city once was. There are injured people helping others around in the streets, loved ones crying over the loss of life, unable to even have a body to mourn over. No magic can bring these people hope. As you will soon find out, while Aura is a most powerful tool, one who passes away from the overuse or decay of one's aura is nearly impossible to bring back. The creatures that Kite brought into this world were the remnants of some twisted ability to corrupt one's body to its very core. All of the planes took a hit, but thanks to the party's effort, helping Pure and ridding Kite, well, I wrote that weird, But thanks to the party's efforts in helping Pure and ridding Kite of Valeth at the time of their ability to create more of these twisted parasites, only about 1/4 of the population was lost. A heavy loss for sure, but it could have gone much worse. While the rest of the party went to explore, Klain stayed behind and watched over Valeth. Forgiveness, unyielding, a trait that Klain held high. Although he may forgive her, it will be a long time before the people of Melramark will forgive her of her actions. Valeth, Klain, and the Hourglass. After a few days' time, Valeth finally woke up from her slumber. Waking from an endless dream, her memories foggy, her purple aura, which was orange-aligned by the way, gone. And all attachment and influence removed from her. All attachment and influence from Kite removed from her, due to Klain's wish. The things she had done, the people she had hurt, she had a long road ahead of her to make amends for the pain she had caused. Once she was able to walk and talk coherently, she sat down with Klain to explain everything that she had done and whom she had wronged. In the plane of Earth, they, of course, had not received a boon from the Hourglass in over 500 years. As such, Valeth made a promise with them. Khan had struck a deal with Valeth's group, leaking information about the festival early, giving them a head start, and additionally, wherever possible, the Plane of Earth teams were given assistance, and cheating had occurred. Of course, this is all and well, but as you guys learned, this played no real part in the outcome. However, it would have been strange for the Plane of Earth to have been given such a major boost if they didn't win the tournament. The 1,000-year mark said to be more potent than any before. The arrangements had been made that a wish spell, a non-monkey's paw one from a djinn or similar, would have been used to bolster the plane that actually won, as a cover-up. In return, should the Plane of Earth team had made it to the finals against Valeth, she had agreed to throw the match, although she had no real plans to actually give them the 1,000 years power. The Tao had agreed to assisting Valeth to meet all of her goals. In the Plane of Fire, she worked with Havoc, looking to cause the start of a new war with Sultanas Sura. This would have led to the closure of the Plane of Fire, and a loss of any help from them. An event that would have led to the death of some of Nashtari's friends. As we know, without their aid in the ongoing war, many more lives would have been lost. In the Plane of Air, through Riker, Rux, the changeling that you encountered, was hired to keep the Rod of Law from the material plane, in an attempt to brew hostility and quarrels that are usually avoided due to the presence of the Rod itself. She gave out valuable resources to Rux and his shadow agents, and was the reason that they were able to take out and replace Khadij. Although, she was not privy to Rux's other plans in an attempt to revive Miska and use the Rod of Law. In the Plane of Water, as you know, Valeth, or more so Kite, was looking for a way to infect other creatures or people to convert them into these voidlings, you call them. In her research, she learned of a cave that the oceanfront had once opened up, Bloom's parents' home. The Mind Flayers, Illithids as you know them, were thought to have been killed during an attack long ago, with the aid of Olin Zonaranth's god. However, there was one survivor after that incident. The surviving Illithid, which you learned to be an Ullithid, a supreme being among regular Illithids destined to become an Elder Brain one day. It managed to survive. Salusk, as you know him, had survived, due to his ingenuity and the creation of a new psionic seal. extending its life similar to that of a high-level druid. But he had grown physically weak over time. With his time running out and his small colony rebuilt of only about 20 mind flayers, they couldn't hope to destroy the legendary Kraken on their own accord. And, as such, they needed a large resource for Celeste to become and transform into an Elder Brain. So, Valeth and her team had set out to make a deal after gathering information. Of course, there was battle, as Celeste feared for his life, and did not want to bargain with a lesser race. But, after 10 of his own thralls and several Illithids were cut down, and his own life inches away from death, he was left without choice. A deal was made with the usually forbidden arcane magic, and was set up deep within their lair. A tentacle from the Kraken that was gathered from Valeth's party many months ago was used as a catalyst. The tentacle was used to connect to the Kraken, to Kravanos' life force. By sacrificing life force, you could drain it from the Kraken. But those who do would be unable to be revived in any way or form. Ideal candidates would have been Illithids themselves, but very few were willing to give up their own life, especially due to the magic being arcane in nature. Thralls seemed to work easily enough, but it had been a slow process. In return, Valeth was given an extremely valuable gift from the Illithids, the Mind Flayer tadpoles, that she could do with as she and Kite wished. Truly, the Illithids hoped she would mess up and become a victim of the tadpoles, but she had other plans at the time. And, well, you know how that went. She and Kite were the orchestrators of all these events, although Valeth only now blames herself for the actions taken, especially for Nalthami's death. It was her fault that he was killed, and the Fae King, and all she wished to do was right the wrongs in the beginning. But she got help from a force she truly did not understand. She was in a dark place at the time, and she reached out to the void. Unfortunately, it reached back. When the Fae King was killed, Kite had stepped in to make sure he could not return, taking his body into the void, a nearly inescapable plane of non-existence. Valeth finds herself foolish for tricking the man who had raised her and thinking that Kite would uphold her end of the bargain to allow her to right her wrongs. Now, Valeth spends most of her time with Klain. With his self-sacrifice to allow the steady flow of aura into the new world, she almost became a self-made servant to Klain. Perhaps it is her own way of trying to seek penance of a sort. Also, she had taken the time to place Kana's chitin crystal into a protective casing before returning it to Klain. Unfortunately, losing the ties to Kite, she could no longer remember how to function the Castellus Matrix, nor did she have a purple aura to assist with. But she recruits High Archmage Rin, who is all too happy to assist them. They copy down the existing matrix hidden in a chamber in Valeth's old residence, carving the circle into the room of the elemental hourglass where Klain now resides in. They spend a lot of their time studying how it works and how to return Kana to her normal self. Klain, you have been chosen as the first one to read your backstory. Your epilogue, rather.
Understood. I had not included
As
Valeth.
he's finishing his sandwich.
Hey, is this the random D4 rolls you had me say the other day?
Anyways, sorry, Klain.
I had not included Valeth or Kana in my backstory much, just because I hadn't known what
Yep,
the
that's no problem. You can ad-lib where needed, and we'll just figure it out.
Whale. I don't write all this very well. Oh well. During the first year, while Klain is sat on his destroyed golden the fuck is it? Hourglass. Jesus. Thank you. Klain creates an organization for addressing aura and spreading word of its coming, including educating the public of its power and purpose. It's named Society for Aura Awareness. He spends his free time reading and learning. He dedicates himself to learning spells to learn all that he could. He also appoints Ayaki to become his spokesperson. While Ayaki takes his place in any situation Klain should be in, she makes the choices and lets Klain know what happens throughout the day. Occasionally, sending spells are used for quick communication for important decisions. During the rebuilding effort, it's decided to take the opportunity to modernize Mellermark. Hooded lanterns were implemented early on just to help with the rebuilding effort, but then spread throughout the rest of the city. They decided that a sewer system would be a wonderful addition, with plans to build a water tower and later Roman-style aqueducts to supply running water. He also consistently spends sending messages to try and reach Kana at least once a night. During the second year, a lot had happened between Klain and Ayaki. And at least on paper, they decided to get married, deciding that the ceremony would be held when Klain is released from his aura duties. I'm gonna rewrite some of this here because I thought the damage to Mellermark would be way worse. Truly.
It was less.
I tried giving you a hint.
Truly, it was less than 30 seconds, but I'm logicking it as it was about 30 seconds from beginning.
Quarter
to
is a
end.
lot of people.
That's a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
actually,
Oh,
not,
I mean,
not a lot, but it's still a lot
maybe
of
not
people.
the buildings.
Yeah, but as
are
far as the
damaged,
physical
but
damage to the city,
Yeah, but the
society.
population, the
population is a
society.
terrible thing, but the physical
Absolutely.
repair of the city does not need as much.
Yeah.
Like, the chaos didn't last that long to cause the buildings to have to get damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Also, DM.
Some of them.
During the first week of Klain's stay,
Mm-hmm.
he decides that carefully he's going to test his limits.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately pushes just a step too far. Whatever happened to that?
Mhm. We'll cover that in a moment.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
Understood.
Oh,
Yes. During the second year, the repairs were easily completed, and while the sewer system had yet to be finished, it had made good progress. Things kept on much the same. Skipping ahead to year 5, year 3. Oops. The first child is born.
Hey!
Kirisu, Kiri for short, is a small female tanuki.
Aw, adorable.
For several years, year 5 passes. Klain learns to cook to a decent degree, nothing impressive, but it's definitely some good eats. His hobby is making dinner for his family to have some quality time with Kiriso and Ayaki. By year 7, she learned. Kirisu had learned how to cast invisibility. Growing up, she always took more after her mother in most ways, including skill and stealthiness. Klain tried to help teach her magic, but in his heart it fell short. Once she reached age 7, it was discovered that she had been using invisibility to play pranks on her parents. Eventually, we found out, though. Klain couldn't have been more proud. By year 10... Pardon. By year 9, the second child was born. The female half-elf, who was immediately seen to be very lucky indeed. Tumbles and falls, they just didn't seem to ever hurt her, much any other child would be. After a time, suspicion grew in both Klain and Ayaki's minds, and Terendell was summoned for a quick commune, where it was learned that this child was favored by Desna. As such, she was given over to Morstead for not raising, but more so healthy influencing.
A good role model.
Yeah, a good role model. Thank you, DM. At year 13, Klain, finally realizing that his time is coming to an end, plans for the wedding ceremony to be held at Melromark, inviting all his friends, his family, and anyone from the town who wished to view from afar. Nothing special happens, no horrible incidents, thank God. He spends the next year finally integrating within his duties for his newfound position as a people's champion. Around this time, Kirisu's old enough. She's been training for much of her childhood. It's decided she joins the town's guard. And she does excellent work using stunning detective capabilities to track down and right any wrongs. At year 14, Klain has been in this position for a year, and as such, looks back at his life and decides it's time for him to take his sabbatical. And he spends the next year going around to old romping grounds. Of note, he visits Njaal's hometown, Rawliss's hometown, Inkstone, and Tambora, the city of lamps. It is once he returns, he learns. His dear friend Morstead is gravely ill. And he passes. During year 15, he resumes control with Ayaki's assistance, her being, at this point, much more knowledgeable of the Melromarkian government, a role she's well suited for, being nobility and whatnot. He fully finishes the rebuilding efforts, and even the running water is completely implemented. Grand Roman-style aqueducts now fill the skylines. He proposes the option for building a large cathedral dedicated to Desna, but a large section of the Melromarkian government raises several issues, including lack of funds, the lack of appropriate clergymen, and general followers. He instead remodels an unused office with a shrine for himself and Terendell, the second child. I don't know if I ever said that. Oops.
Nope, but aw.
I was wondering how to say that name.
Yeah.
John Doe.
Terendell.
John Dill.
John
Okay.
Dill.
It's like
Terendell.
Gene DYL.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
It sounded
I-
like John
okay.
Doe. Oh.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard
John
too.
It did initially, yeah. I
Oh.
was like,
So,
okay then, yeah.
Jean
It's like
John
really
Doe.
John Doe.
Terendell.
Terendell.
John
My
Dell. Got
beautiful
it.
favorite grandchild.
Yeah. I thought at first-
Absolutely.
I thought you said Jane Doe for a second. Like, okay, Joey.
Yeah, we just gave up trying to name the kids.
Yeah.
For one, you had nothing.
We named one and we're like Jane
Oh
Doe.
my God.
That's
Yeah.
good enough.
Absolutely. Oh, where was I at? Here I am. Mhm.
End of your
Year
15.
15?
Gotcha. By year 20, the third and final child is born. Ichido. Ichi for short. A male kitsune whose time was spent mostly with his father for training. He took after him a little more in that sense. He was brave and smart. Not necessarily the wisest, but the apple never falls far from the tree. A bit of a skip here. By year 30, Klain has spent many years prior planning, preparing, and ready to implement a new form of government. Democracy.
Oh.
Our way of
Wow.
life. It took the previous 5 years of planning, preparation, and implementation.
Yeah.
That word.
Yeah.
Oh my
Sure.
god!
Implementation.
You got it.
There you
Oh
go.
my
There you
God.
go. You got it, buddy.
Yeah.
After developing a new section of government for the election process and setting the date for such election, Klain was handedly voted into office. The next 10 years, he continued to govern Melromark and grow it back, and even beyond its pre-Aura population. Year 35, Klain has been busy raising Ichigo and managing Melromark. The time for Ichigo's training to pick up a notch came, and so Klain granted him his own shield, the same one his father had given to him. It wasn't too many years after that Ichido would take off to make his own adventures, much like the other children. He made sure to stop by for dinner and stay for a while whenever he had the chance. Klain further improves the lives of Melromarkian citizens by founding a school for children. He spends the few years prior searching for people who would be appropriate and willing to teach. Year 37. The second major hurdle for Melromark came in the form of a kobold invasion from the north. Damage to the infrastructure was fairly minimal. However, the public's confidence was shaken in the face of hundreds of kobolds running amok through the streets and homes. Even after all this time, the memory of foidling still haunted some citizens. People were frustrated and scared with the surprisingly lax security that Melromark had. Klain and Ayaki's direct involvement against the kobolds did reassure enough citizens to avoid major backlash, but it did not prevent the issue from occurring. Klain's response: double the recruitment for guardsmen and create an elite task force for such occasions. This is so stupid.
No, I love it.
The
I
name.
love this.
I love it. Say it. What is it?
The name of the organization: Melromark's Emergency action knights.
Meat?
Mean.
Knights. Oh.
The K was decided to drop.
I was gonna say meek. Wait a minute.
The K is silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is silent.
All right.
Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. It's
no,
just like,
I love
what?
I was trying so hard to find a good acronym,
No, the K is silent. It's
one that could come up with.
I love it.
That's
It felt very Klain. I loved it.
It's very
It's
Klain.
truly Klain.
It's
Mhm.
very Klain.
Oh. And by year 40, the repairs to all buildings were complete once again. The northern defenses were refurbished in time for the next election cycle. And this election was still fairly in Klain's favor, but a vocal minority had gained popularity. Some orc of 34 years came from the far north and gained popularity to said minority. Still, Klain secured another 10 years as the people's champion. And by year 45, Klain's effort brought extraordinary growth to Melremark. Trade deals with across the continent, including Ingstone, Bricka, and Njaal's homeland, because I don't remember the name.
Epilogue.
Ebeloft.
Ebeloft?
Epilogue.
Okay.
Aloft.
Oops. All such deals contributed to financial prosperity and population boom. The lands around Melremark grew large enough that another defensive perimeter had to be established. And the rest of the years were peaceful. The
And they all
end.
lived happily ever.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right, and with that, we're gonna shift over to Morsteads.
Oh, okay. Goodness. Muted.
That's right. Be ready.
Yeah. Going back in time again, Morstead goes home. The Merry Wanderer was mostly undamaged by the events of the battle, and extremely quickly transferred it back to him by Ayaki. In the first, couple weeks after, I think he's spending a lot of time dealing with the aftermath. He's very busy in his graveyard. But then again, is able to go back to his bar and complete repairs and otherwise undo all of the neglect that it experienced under Valif's control. He housed the land again, and importantly, uses his divine magic to forbid kite and void entities from ever entering the bar ever again. Making this small inn perhaps one of the safest places in the world from those particular evils. He commissioned a large portrait of the party to go over the fireplace in the main room.
Aww.
And makes it beautiful again. Early on, he one day struck by an urge to maybe do something for Klain while he's still stuck in his little room. He goes back to the Iwatani home, looking around for something, anything to give him, but he doesn't find much. The fire and then the months of rot that followed sort of left everything in a state not worth giving. But, as a 20th level cleric now, Caden has to answer his calls. And what's one selfish divine intervention after a lifetime? So, with a little bit of divine assistance, the house is restored. If not to its total former glory, at least to 4 walls and a roof. He works with Ayaki and the rest of the party to try to make that house a bit of a home again, ready for Klain when he needs it. And one thing that did survive, or maybe came back via the divine intervention, is a little portrait of his family.
Aww.
Beyond that, Morstead returns to his life as it was. He likes it. He visits Klain every day. He often brings meals or some experiments for Klain to test. New brews, whatever else he's coming up with that week. He cleans up his act a bit, realizing that he wants to see Klain get out of that place very badly. So he starts eating better, drinking less, grumping about it to anyone that'll listen, but still drinking whatever weird green juice that Nishtari brought him from the Feywild that month.
Yep.
Fine, whatever.
Yep.
You
You really should try this one.
Fine. Terrible. Overall, he focuses on his bar and his place, bringing it back to its former glory, reestablishing it as the premier in all of Mauermark. About 6 years after the tournament, a young man walks into the bar looking a bit lost, a bit directionless. After a little while of him sort of just hovering and staring around the bar, Morstead tosses some rag. It's like, well, are you gonna help me or are you just gonna watch? And he helps out. So one Aldervar becomes his protege. And as his age kind of finally begins catching up with him, Alder takes up more and more of the practical aspects and the religious aspects of running the Merry Wanderer, leaving Morstead plenty of time to visit old friends, traveling around to visit you guys, spending time with the various Klain and Ayaki children, especially his little cleric one who he adores. After 13 years, Klain is finally free, and Morstead knows that he did what he had to do. Everything is good. He's done his job. And less than a year later, he passes peacefully in his sleep, leaving the bar to Alder.
Rest in peace, Morstead.
And none of you are invited to the funeral.
Well, we're coming anyways.
I don't think you have a choice.
No, everyone's invited.
Auras, the Matrix, Kite, Adari, and Aether. With Klain at his post, Aura slowly begins to appear throughout the world, and Melremark acting as the information center of the world of its arrival, while keeping information about Kite to a minimum. It started with Melremark, and spread through the material plane and the 4 elemental planes foremost. For better or for worse, Klain had decided to test his limits after about a week or so into his new duty. Slowly, day after day, testing how far he could get away from the hourglass before it became an issue. Ill-advised as best, Klain was not one for patience and needed to know his limits. It was during this time he found out those limits. He was able to reach about halfway down the hall from the hourglass when he realized he fucked up.
He was going to the bathroom.
Said
almost
was.
There!
A loud cracking sound could be heard from across the chamber as he rushed back. In the top of the hourglass, a large crack had formed. A chaotic moment for sure. A burst of magic seeped out from the relic. Surely this won't have any repercussions.
No, none whatsoever.
No one will notice,
None
right?
whatsoever. God, what are the repercussions, DM?
We'll find out.
Okay, cool.
In better news, Klain, Baelith, and Archmage Rin ended up spending a lot of their time poring over countless books, tomes, and rituals to further their study of the Castellus Matrix that had sealed away Kana, Klain's once protector. Rin was overjoyed as ever within the first year of studying as he obtained a blue aura of his own. With his deductions, it seemed that the slow release of energy from the hourglass had allowed auras to fit with suitable hosts. More mages getting blue auras, warriors getting red auras, and so on. It's as if the magic had a mind of its own and knows who is best suited for it. That said, it is hypothesized that had the aura been released all at once, auras may have been a bit more random and chaotic with their host. Can you imagine? A warrior with a blue aura, a necromancer with a white aura? It's crazy.
Yo.
Necromancer would be pissed, man.
Oh boy, that would have sucked, yeah.
My power hurts me!
Everything
What do
is
you
terrible.
mean mine is good? why
It's
why do
necromancy, but advanced healing.
Yeah. But
That's wild.
that is a reality that Klain avoided with his devotion to the world, even if the people were not aware of his sacrifice. While it took 13 long... Oh, no, sorry, not that part yet. While it took decades to finally figure out, over 30 long years, Rin had figured out a way to free Kana from her prison. By overwhelming the chitin crystal with an immense amount of aura expenditure, they were able to free Kana from her prison. While it's still unclear on how the matrix works in full, it seems that a person can use it to either entrap or free someone into a crystal made of pure aura. This material is now known as chitin ore. It is incredibly rare, as with a world new to aura, there are no natural deposits of chite to be mined anywhere in existence. One thing is for sure, this knowledge was immediately labeled as forbidden magic. After Kana's freedom, the implications of its use were horrific. Over the years, it had been found out that there are 9 different aura colors that exist. Red, blue, yellow, green, orange, pink, white, brown, and purple. Although purple is special, as it does not have a power of its own, rather is it aligned with the color of another's. Further study will be required to figure out why this is and its implications. Furthermore, decay does not dissipate nearly as quickly as it did for the party during their exclusive time with aura. It appears, with more people having access to aura, decay is removed much slower. In mechanical terms moving forward, a short rest removes a set 5 decay, and a long rest removes proficiency bonus times d4 plus con mod. So if you have like a proficiency of 3, it's 3d4 plus con mod.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Not much is known about what happens to an aura when a person dies at this point. Does it return to the earth? Does it just dissipate? Or perhaps it returns to Invilis? Little is known about it, and only time will tell. Aside from aura, is of course other areas of concern. Aether, Void, or rather Kite as she will be called from now on, and Adari. As for Aether, keeping to his word, he has not been seen or heard from in the last 50 years. Contact with him has failed, or lacked a response from him as well. Kite's whereabouts are currently unknown. It's unclear if she won her internal fight over Void or not. But one thing is for certain. If she is out there, one day she will creep her head out of the darkness. And finally, Adari. The only point of contact has been through Nashtari, who has been a major boon to the recovery of Malremark as a whole. Occasionally, Nash has reached out to Adari hoping for a response. They had asked, do you want to read this part, Mira?
Sure, I can read this part. Let me just scroll down.
Nashtari asks...
Oh, okay, let me just read. I'm just gonna start my paragraph and then you can do your response. That sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. Nash would attempt to see if she could reach out to Adari from time to time, whether to figure out if they had gone back to sleep or were still active. If they were still active, Nash would still express gratitude in bringing her and her parents together after so long. She would also see if Adari wanted the stars back, and if there was anything Adari would like Nash to look for with keeping balance, as well as any other messages.
These questions were answered within a week of being asked. They were not fully back to sleep. Not because of them, but because they were keeping an eye on Kite. She had caused ruin to another world, and should she become an issue in this one, it may be that the Aeons would have to descend upon this world as well. Adari understands Nash's gratitude, but only replies to them with apologies. As, if it were not for them, they could have lived a normal life, one without fighting, hardships, and plight. They allow Nash to keep the stars as a keepsake, and in hopes that they aid her should they ever be required again. The world is changing, and many things will need to change with it. Adari informs them that they may keep the balance as they see fit, but not for Adari's sake. They should take some time to live for themselves and enjoy the life that they have. However, should Kite rear her ugly head, they may call upon her once more. Other cities, towns, people of import. Yeah, and other people of import. Ayaki's parents.
Truly the most important thing going on here.
How's the counseling going?
The reunion between Ayaki's parents, Arthur and... Oh, fuck, I forgot to check my notes. What's the mother's name again? I forgot to...
Amelia.
Arthur and
Did we
Amelia.
ever even know that? Hilarious.
We did know, probably. It's in my notes, I just forgot to write it in. Between Arthur and Amelia is rocky at best. His return was unexpected, as she had assumed that he was dead for a long time. She was nearly through the grieving process when she learned that he was still alive, while their other daughter is happy that Papa is back. Mama had a lot of harsh words to say to him, but they are currently working through it. He needs to earn back a lifetime worth of trust from his family, from both Ayaki and his wife. Ayaki, I'm gonna now have you read yours.
Okay. You want just Ayaki's or?
Just Ayaki's.
But-
We'll do
okay.
the subplot later.
All right. I just wanted to make sure.
Whoa!
Oh.
So going back to the
I
beginning
assume
of
you're
all
talking
of
about
this.
Igni when you say the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
okay. I was like, subplot.
No.
No.
Don't get excited. Calm.
Oh, that's probably a good point. Let me bring up Zavine's too while I'm waiting.
I put them in the same document to make it easy on me.
And
Nah.
So, going back to the beginning, Ayaki would volunteer to stay with Klain and keep him company during his time so that he isn't lonely. This would lead to them developing a relationship and becoming married in 2 years. This would be a kind of elopement / legal wedding simply to make her be able to act for him. Much of her time not in the room would be devoted to helping Merrimark rebuild from the tragedy that befell the city at the hands of Kite. With her knowledge of quote-unquote otherworldly machines, she would attempt to modernize functions of the city, but being careful not to make it too drastic or to destroy their way of life. She would also attempt, although this has now been done, she would assist in the rebuilding of Klain's family home, with her own modifications, of course, so that they would have a house to live and raise their kids in once he was free. Ayaki would play a spokesman, the role of a spokeswoman for Klain, going to meetings in his place and using sending to keep him up to date on any immediate needs. She would also check up on her parents periodically, as well as visiting them and having them come visit when things were good. She would also open her home to her younger sisters, so should she decide she wanted a break from their parents. She would begin an aid in research of aura, as Klain had established. What did you call it again?
Society for Aura Awareness.
Cool. That. And how
Saw.
Yeah.
They
I called it
function-
SAR. I dropped the
function and react in the world and with various peoples. She would also help with trying to release Kana from her captivity in the crystal. Knowing that Igni is a quote-unquote like-minded person, she would petition them and Sura to allow them to assist in the research, as the knowledge that they would gain would be both a boon to the material and the fire planes. Their oldest child, Kirisu, Kiri for short, is born a year after they are married. When she was around 7, she learned that she could become invisible and began to play pranks on her parents. This is also the time when she learned that both Klain and Ayaki can cast see invisibility and catch her. She took more after her mother and learned stealth and finding from the shadows, as using more roguelike techniques. Jumping ahead to the 9th year, their second child, Terendell, was born. From a young age, they seemed to be divinely favored, so we were at a loss on how to handle her. We reached out to Morstead in hopes that he could be a positive influence on them, and he agreed. Now knowing the name of the next person that owned the bar, because I didn't know the name, so it's just the next person that owns the bar.
I told you.
Yeah, I didn't think about it when I was writing this. So, they continued to help teach Terendell how to utilize their abilities after Morstead's passing. When they turned 18, they set out on their own adventures around the continent and would stop by periodically to check on everyone and assure everyone that they were still alive. Their third child, Ichiro, was born 20 years into the time. He took after his father the most and received Naofumi's shield. He would gain some of his parents' arcane abilities as well, but to a lesser extent, and utilize them in different ways than we did, in unique ways in order to supplement his martial abilities. And much like his older sibling, he would set out at 18 to have his own adventures. For the next rest of the time, up to their 50 years, Ayaki would continue to live in Melmark with Klain and their family, helping to raise their kids and teaching them to control their abilities, as well to handle business and management to prepare them for when they set out on their own. She would also teach them what it was like to be a noble and their heritage as the nobility. This would include her family and what they did, but she would show them how to avoid those pitfalls that her father fell into, so that they would not repeat the same mistakes. So, I'm going to give the brief breakdown of their children because that's what I have for their children here. Kirisu has Tanuki features and is a female, her arcane trickster rogue. She has the lucky feet at level 1. Family Orange.
Yeah.
All of the children have the lucky feet at level 1.
Aww, I love
This is
it.
amazing.
I
Because
love it.
We can't help it. It was too funny.
Yeah,
Family Oriented would push boundaries. Lawful good. With a orange aura. Terendell is a half-elf feature born female but is they them. Cleric of the Trickster domain, follower of Desna. Lucky feat of level 1 again. Most independent of the three, being the third child. Or the second middle child, excuse me. Chaotic good. And with a white attributed purple aura.
Ooh.
And then Ichiro, Kitsune, male, he, him. Eldritch Knight that uses Kawafumi's shield. Neutral good with a brown aura. That is all I have.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So.
we're going to address the first D30 roll that was rolled now, which was a 33. And we're going to reveal what one of the cards were, if you guys want to take over.
Ooh.
So, are we okay with the way that I propose how this goes?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool.
I
Joey's like, I don't even know what's happening.
Actually, let me read this
Alright.
real quick.
All right, yeah.
fuck
You know
you.
what? I think we need to go over like the planes first. No.
I had something else.
All right, so I would say this takes place maybe a couple weeks to a month down the road from like when you first started taking care of the elemental hourglass. All of our characters group up and decide to come into the elemental hourglass chamber all together, where Ayaki is holding a large gift basket. In this gift basket are gifts from each and every member of the party. Nash's contribution was a snuggle beast of Tan, which is a very rare gradient of it. So it was like, what's the hit dice on that, damn, for what it's worth? I don't know.
I'll go
off the top
ahead
of my
and
head.
put the picture of what Snugglebees kind of look like in the Klain's
Yeah.
Arc chat. The very rare
Because
variant is 4d6.
46. You get a snuggle beast of Tan and a house plant called a money plant because it represents good luck. That was Nash's contribution.
Awesome.
Let's go to Rollis.
Are you saying this or am I saying this?
You.
Say what you yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So Rollis would put in her Zorn eye coin to give that to Klain. I'm gonna share that in the chat so you can see what it looks like because
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard
Okay.
of this.
so there's that. So she gives you that, and because it's been a little time, she was able to make a carving of both Klain and Ayaki together, a wood carving. And it's
With
well
Tantan.
done because she had time to work on it. Yes, and Tantan is also included in that. Too. Yes, you're correct. Can't forget Tantan.
Of course.
I wrote that down earlier. Yes. So, Ayaki, Klain, and Tantan. Yes.
Let's go to Nyal and his amazing contribution.
Bro, I
Mhm.
gave you so many potions. It's
True.
crazy.
I was.
As his rehabilitation is underway, this is part of it.
So many potions.
See a small
Here's my
tear as he hands you them.
I have one singular tear coming down my face.
It's the reason the basket is that big. It's because 3/4 of it is
Yes.
potions.
It's potions.
Yeah, my stuff's not that
Potions
big.
and a plant. I mean,
Yeah, I think like my wood thing's probably like maybe like a foot tall. Like, but yeah,
Oh.
his potions are everything.
The potions.
Yeah.
then let's go to Morstead and his contribution.
Oh. Your house keys. There.
Oh my god.
So somewhere
And
to
Oh,
then-
come
that would
to.
be amazing. Yes.
And then it's at this point that most of the PCs look at each other and just give Ayaki a nudge and then walk out of the room.
Mm.
See, okay, this is why I said what I said earlier, Mira. You're not helping your insinuations at all.
Look, it's not my fault that you're thinking it, and my implication is otherwise.
And that scene fades to black.
So-
No, it's just a
It's
private
not.
moment. Come
Wow.
on.
What a
with
gift.
the basket, with the basket
That's
now
a great gift.
emptied and spread out.
Oh gosh.
Ayaki's gift is that she stands behind it, and as she looks and sees everything, she transforms into a fox and jumps in the basket herself, and then looks up at
See?
Klain.
Oh, that's too cute.
See?
It's
Oh
so
my
wholesome.
God.
See?
Oh.
As the players are now free from the holodeck of many things roll, the 62, all of the characters allies are obligated to put together a gift for the character, the one who drew it, which was you, Klain. This gift could be given in lieu of gratitude, a birthday, or some other celebration.
See, I told you it was fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
And then we fade to black.
God, I'm so glad it's not. Was it Julius Caesar got stabbed by all of his fucking
God.
Oh my
friends or
god.
whatever?
Oh my God,
Brutus,
yeah,
his
no,
best
Jesus.
friend,
Imagine that being
Yeah.
the ending.
Right.
stabbed at the back.
And you get stabbed.
Yeah.
Also, Ghost, it's because you had that reaction that
Yes,
I
you
had to
did,
put
I-
it that way. You know that, right?
I know.
I
Don't
also
help. Okay, her implication. She types this thing. It's like Ayaki walks in thing, and as we give a thing, then all the characters quickly make their exit while Ayaki stays. I'm like, Ayaki is a lady, okay? Like,
yeah.
But she's
And
also
she's like, doesn't have to
smart,
be that. I was like,
right?
What? Here, Joey,
Listen.
you are now part of the group. Klain's present.
There you
Oh,
go.
Well-
he
Oh,
disappeared.
no,
Oh,
he's
no.
not. He's-
Joey died.
No,
We destroyed him.
obliterated.
Joey, you are now part of the group. Klain's present.
Oh my god.
Alright, returning to the cities and people of import. Cardi, the city of lamps. This resort town went through a bit of a remodeling due to events in the past. An evil Kalashtar and a quarry that sought to take control over the town through the brainwashing use of a quarry monolith. Although the root cause of the issues were never truly discovered, it fell deep into the Underdark, for who knows what to find it. A toy for the DM another
Yeah.
day.
Mm,
The town has since rebuilt and made a tourist attraction out of the now gaping hole in the ground, as well as a local mining business that had taken advantage of the easy access to resources deep underneath the earth. Ingstone. Ingstone has returned to its normal day-to-day, Echo and Ida returning home with Tenkanos to continue keeping a safe watch over the town. As for Tokahana, she has decided to stay with Nashtari and join her druidic circle. Even though she is young, she wants to see more of the world, and after hearing about how bright and colorful the Feywilds are, she just can't help but to want to visit there. Over the course of the next 50 years, she grows into a blossoming young druid with much promise. Halfeld, the city of incantations. They have now built a nearby port to allow ships to sail out from other continents of the world. Previously, travel by sea was barred from these lands, but this will be covered later. For now, we need to transition into Njaal's epilogue.
okay, so after the final battle, Njaal would return to Epilogue to help his sister with the town and everything. He would continue to stay connected with his friends, visiting Klain and others on a monthly basis, lending a hand at Morsted's bar whenever possible. A few months after the final battle, Njaal and Kit become romantically involved. Yes, that Kit when Njaal had that curse. And about a year later, Kit moves to Epilogue to start a life with him. They marry. They marry in a joyful ceremony in Epilogue, with friends invited, and the ceremony streamed to Klain via scrying.
Love it.
I love it.
Njal opens a potion shop called Rage and Remedies with the catchy slogan, "Even a curse has its remedy."
I love the title so much.
Soon after, the couple opens an inn, which also serves as an extension to Njal's potion shop. Their business thrives with the support of the town, and together they plan to expand their inn and potion ventures throughout Terendell. They experience the bittersweet moments of life, including attending Morstead's funeral and attending the weddings of close friends. And 21 years into the time skip, Njal and Kit's family grow with the birth of their daughter.
Yeah, Dada.
Daughter.
Yeah, but Dada.
Welcome to the Barbarian family. Jesus. Anya Kaminari, followed by the birth of their son, Bjorn Kaminari, 4 years later. The family continues to flourish, marking a new chapter in their story. And a little description of both Anya and Bjorn. Anya is lawful good. She is very much like Njal, so she's trained in the ways of being a barbarian by Njal. But she's very, very loud, outgoing, very impulsive, and yeah, very protective of her little bro, by the way. She has fiery red hair, blue eyes, and a bright red single horn. And her aura is, you could probably guess, barbarian red. And Bjorn is, well, complete opposite. He is magically inclined. He's a wizard. And he's very quiet, very straightforward, but he's also very timid, extremely kind. His hair color, dark blue like Njal's, and he has brown eyes. No horn, though, for Bjorn, and his goal is to figure out the magic behind the bubble around Epilogue and to edit it to keep monsters out and protect the town and possibly other things. So that is pretty much all.
Speaking of Epilogue, a city surrounded by a wish-created bubble. A major inconvenience for some who wish to make trade with the city that has come to pride itself on its rare monster materials and minerals from the mountains to the north. The city, once ruled over by the undead and martial law, now ruled over by a caring brother and sister. While investigations into the bubble around the city were looked into, it wasn't until the last decade or so into the next 50 years that any real progress was made. Thanks to Njal and Kit's son, Bjorn Kaminari, a promising abjurist made a breakthrough in progress. With a fresh pair of eyes on the world and one of the first generations to grow up with naturally born aura in this world, they were able to alter the effects of the barrier, changing its prevention of some that were not allowed into it. Now, it only prevents monsters and known enemies of the city within the barrier. Perhaps the second safest place in the world. The Hero Academy of Terendell. Bannersoth took over as its headmaster after the events that led to Lamashtu's near revival. Lina, Lyra, Gaston, Noy, Bullstruck, Barius, and Layart, as well as a few friends who had lent a hand at the time. After the arrival of Ayaki, Rallis, Njal, Klain, and Rowan, things began to change. Especially after the events that came to pass with Rancor, an anti-paladin who sought to push his ways over more than just one cityscape. Yes, you do know those names. Let me start that sentence again. I lost my place. Rancor, an anti-paladin that sought to push his ways over more than just one cityscape. After all of the stress and 50 years of passing, he decides to step down as headmaster of the academy to allow somebody else to step into the role. But more on that later. For now, actually, I think this makes more sense. We're going to step into Rallis's backstory.
Okay. Alright, so first things first. Over the next year, you would see Rallis's hair return to her normal color, and the rainbow feathers would return to Robbie, as it should be. Rallis would be keeping busy teaching at the academy, helping out with Morsted's bar, especially on the weekends, visiting her family every couple of weeks to keep working with them on her dad's druid circle rebuilding in that area of the world. Nash and those that wish to come could meet Rallis's parents. I know that Nash had said she wanted to at some point to make a connection, so because my dad is a druid, so we get some trees going, you know, all that fun stuff. Yeah. She would also continue to ensure that Rowan's family was set for life. Part of the travel for all of this stuff would include Rallis teleporting to many areas frequently. So eventually, over the next 50 years, she would make teleportation circles to the main areas of this continent, because it just makes it a lot easier. If they didn't already exist in certain spots, she would connect all those together.
Okay.
They'd probably be in an area just next to the Academy campus, for like the hub, where it could be more secure to make that central area, but not on the actual Academy grounds.
Yep. Noted.
When the current headmaster retires, Rallis would take the reins as headmistress of the academy. And then I said I'd imagine a new part of the academy would be dedicated to aura study, because that's a new thing in the world now, so we'd have to teach people how to use their auras responsibly.
That is good.
Alright.
That will be needed.
I'd assume that would have been, yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, okay. Alright, Rallis would not want to lose touch with her friends, and she would want them to have the ability to reach out to her in times of need. She would make it her mission to ensure everyone had at least a sending stone so that they could reach her and the others. And then I actually did a little drawing thingy earlier, but I don't know, can you see it now? Taking notes in our areas, or
Drawing?
a little bit more.
Where? What?
Like the thing I did with the art tech I shared to you guys earlier. Yeah.
Oh, in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, the chat thing that I shared earlier. Let me get it real quick.
Let
There.
me scroll.
I'm dumb.
I'll just put it here. This thing. Yeah.
I love
Oh,
Your
gosh.
Wait,
favorite
where
place
is it?
first.
Plains
Is
Art
it-
chat.
I put it back in the
Klain's
Klain's
art
art chat
Okay.
because
Oh,
she wants all the
yeah!
sending stones to be in a little sending stone holder. So she would craft all of that and then give you guys each one with each other's sending stone. So that's what Rallis's looks like, relatively speaking. So yeah.
I've only just now blown the image up. Are these rats
They're
with big
rats.
brains?
This was one of the sending stone versions, and that was the easier one to crop out and put into little
Look.
circles. And
I
stuff.
love it.
Yeah.
You know what they remind
That's
me
what
of?
it is.
Do you know what they remind me of?
Mhm.
They remind me of like Chinese New Year little
see that.
token thingies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the aura colors are just so I know whose is whose, but we could do that either way. But yes, so
No,
it would
I
be
love it.
designated like this goes to Niall, this goes to Rallis, this goes to Morstead. Yeah, so we'd all have our own little one, plus an extra slot for an extra one that you would need for somebody else in your life that you want to add to it. Anyway, all right. So then, so yeah, she'd have all that. So you'd have access to being able to reach out to all of us, or you know, if you wanted to like invite us over for like dinner one night, we could just pop on over with a teleport spell. That works out. She was going to make that, yep. And then Rallis would 100% do a visit to the Fey Wild like she had always wanted. And I'm sure that Nashtari would be able to help her with that, hopefully.
You got it.
Great. Fantastic. Rallis would also visit frequently to Klain and Ayaki, with some teasing involved, but she would be happy for them. And then Rallis could provide entertainment by bringing things to Klain, using illusion magic to detail events happening, bringing in books, whatever he really wants to, you know, have as far as available options, because I have lots of teleports. Easy to get stuff.
Oh yeah.
When she's with Nashtari, I don't think she would tease her as much. Not as much.
You could.
I don't think I could, yes. I don't think Rallis would pursue a permanent long-term relationship. It's weird because like she has Robbie, and that's like her companion, even though it's platonic. But like she has already someone that she's always going to be with, so she doesn't really need that like extra connection to somebody else, you know. So that and like the functional immortality she has might be a bit of an issue because Rawlis would be
Awkward.
using Phoenix Rise to live at least several lifetimes overall. When it came for her to die of old age, which is going to be a long ways off, more than 50 years, but that's long term. Not to say that she wouldn't have a bit of fun or a few short term things here and there. She is a bard after all.
Fair.
I mean, come on, you gotta relieve something sometimes.
You gotta have some, sometimes, exactly. So
Yeah, live.
when free time does happen, she'd work on perfecting Big Ravi first to use that power with greater frequency. And then she would work on wood carving and crafting magical staffs, eventually selling them at a pop-up shop that she could set up wherever she traveled. The shop would be called Rawlis's Whittle Magic Trading Post.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
That's amazing.
great.
That's incredible.
So think of a bag of holding, a little sign, and like a little table, and she would just like whatever she happened to be teleporting that day would have it up open for the whole day. So
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
that's the thing. All right,
a
that's
bag of
all I have
holding
written
for
down for
a
Rawlis's epilogue.
All right. The Feywilds and Zarthana.
What the fuck you do with my childhood friend, man?
The Feywild remain a place where passage into the Spring Court through Halfeld, where Sir Rush typically stands guard. After a brief meeting around the beginning of a month, where Zarthana met with Nash and her party, she seemed to abruptly leave and return back to the Feywilds, cutting contact with Nash. Nash, curious about what had happened to her childhood friend, asked Erevan and tried to find out what happened and what was wrong. After about a decade or so of them trying to learn what had happened, what Erevan finds is both troubling and confusing information. She has withdrawn from the Druidic Circle in the unorthodox means of sending a letter and not in person, without a clear reason. Searches into her seem to come up empty-handed, and even high-level magic seems to fail when attempting to scry on them. Sending messages seems to reach her, but there has yet to be a reply. In addition, Nashtari's parents open up about why they were weary of her. Although it wasn't a major change, she had always hid her face, using illusion magic to change her appearance throughout the entire time with Nash and the Druidic Circle. Her parents revealed to her that her face looked to them like that of an unseelie, white and pale with a severe lack of any color. Additionally, there was a small bit of information in a letter that she left to Erevan. To the Circle. With moonbeam light and whispered air, I bid farewell, no longer there. The time we danced, the songs we spun, will shimmer bright like morning sun. But fate's soft call, a lifting tune, has led me beneath the moon. To Nash. O dearest friend, a joy so true, our moments gleamed like morning dew. Yet let me be a dream that fades, a fleeting wisp in woodland glades. For words I wove a promise tied, kept silent truths I held inside. Forget me now, let memories gleam, like echoes lost within a dream. But onward you go, swift take flight, and carve your name into fate's starlight. I will copy that for you because I know you're going to ask for it.
Thank you. Aww. Here I'm thinking I gave you a BBEG. What the fuck is Zarthana?
Nash, I would now like you to transition into your epilogue, as I am going to grab some more to drink.
Okay, everyone. Are you ready for a long ride? Alright, so due to the events that unfolded, Nashtari decides to stay in Malaramark to assist in disaster relief efforts, whatever those may be. From rebuilding to aiding the wounded to providing emotional support to mourning families, she would be seen assisting anywhere that needs help. She would often go to Thar's and help him out around the shop as well, both as a way to decompress from day-to-day stresses of helping others, as well as being there for Thar and any extra work that may have gone his way. Part of this relief effort will be spent helping Morstead clean up his tavern, as well as rehabilitating Njal from his potion addiction. Yes, it is an addiction. She will find time each day to speak with Klain and let him know what is being done, as well as joke around with him to ease the tension of the whole situation he is now in. Where she was once uncertain of her abilities, she is now feeling more than ready to handle whatever the future may hold, and now I'm starting to cry. 1 second. All right. Especially with her connection to her parents being strong. She would talk to her parents in her off time, learning about them and what they have to say to her about what they know. Upon hearing from Tokuhana that she wishes to join Nash in her druidic circle, Nash happily accepts. She lets Tokuhana know that they would leave for the Fae as soon as Mallower Mark was in a more stable condition after the events of the elemental hourglass shattering. See, we all do it, 10.
Happens to all of us.
None of us are perfect. Great.
None of us. While she is still in Malloramark over these next few weeks to months, she continues communication with Kalos and Haken via Ibis, though what information gets passed to them is questionable. As far as any dream discussions, she would reach out to Haken often. Upon seeing Haken in the first of these dream conversations, she would run up to him and hug him tightly, hot tears going down her face in happiness, thankful that he was still alive and that she is alive too. She explains to Haken what happened in Malloramark, how the elemental hourglass has shattered, and the new / raw magic seeping into their world, connecting theirs to others through Infilis. When asked if this is bad, she would simply respond with, "The world is changing, and we must be ready to change with it." She briefly explains auras, how adventurers ain't got theirs, and that this is likely going to be part of the change in the world. Speaking of changes, she goes on to tell Haken about her Kori, the sacrifice her parents made for her sake, her awakening, and her birth name. At this point, she is still considering the name change, but wants to honor her parents as well. She would also tell Haken that she wants to introduce him to her parents the next time they see each other, if he is willing. After explaining herself, she would ask Haken what was going on their front. She would ask questions and specifics and ask if they need more assistance. Upon ending this specific dream conversation, she asks Haken, "Would you please keep all that we spoke about on the quiet for now? If anyone asks if I'm all right, assure them I am, but there's already so much going on for you all as it is. I would like you all to focus on your efforts as much as you can." Haken would agree, hugging her as the dream conversation ended. On other occasions, she would talk to Haken in the dream. She would try to ask about Kalos as nonchalantly as she could. Haken would give her a sly and teasing look and say he's doing fine, just up in his head more than usual. One of the times she would express to Haken how she feels like she messed up, how she might have ruined any chance of even getting along with Kalos just because she took a leap of faith fueled by fear of death. Upon hearing this, he would put his hand on her shoulder and tell her just to give him time. She would then tell him, "That's what I plan to do. You both are going to be busy, and I'm going to be here in Malloramark for quite a while, and I don't want to be a distraction. When he's ready to talk, let me know. But also, if at any point he does express that he's not interested in me in that way, please let him know that he doesn't need to reciprocate. I just wanted to let him know how I felt in case something were to have happened." After this discussion, she would not outrightly ask Haken any more about how Kalos is doing, and would wait for his message. Nash would send letters to Eravin, informing him on the events in Malloramark, letting him know that she was fine but was going to be aiding and helping around the city. She would also tell him that the next time they see each other, she has someone to introduce to him, but no rush on when, as she knows, he will be busy as well. We addressed that. Yeah, okay. This is the part where I ask 10 one more time. Do you want me to go into the fluffy story, or should we move this along?
Up to you. That's your choice. It's your epilogue.
I'll send everybody the fluffy story later.
Is it a? I want the fluffy story.
Just read it.
Do you want the fluffy story? Okay, I'm reading the fluffy story.
We could do a
Go
vote.
for
I don't
it.
care if
Read
it's
it.
I'm
Okay.
gonna be the only person saying
Yeah.
this. Okay, yeah.
Yeah? That's 3 for
Do
yeah?
I'm a yes. Yeah.
Just read it.
Okay. All right, chat. I hope you're ready for some diabetes-inducing shit.
Diabetes.
One day, as she's reading and relaxing, watching Morstead's bar alone while Morstead is visiting Klain, she could hear someone angrily talking loudly to another calming voice, both very familiar to Nash. Suddenly, the door bursts open and Kalos announces to the room, "I need to talk to Nash Tarian. You better get in contact with her, goblin, or so help." As he cuts off his yelling as Nash is staring at him, wide-eyed in surprise. Behind him, Haken can be seen and a cheerful, "Oh, hi, Nash," can be heard. Suddenly, Haken lightly pushes Kalos inside and closes the door quickly, leaving the two alone. Now you can see where Nash gets her little pushiness when it comes to certain things. After a moment of awkward silence, Nash would clear her throat and say cordially, "It's, very good to see you, Kalos, and in good health, too. I half expected to see your hair ablaze with like a fire genasi from the sounds of the combat you had to deal with." Silence would fall again, with Kalos staring and not making a sound. "Well, so long as you two are staying in Malremark, you could stay here. I'm sure Morstead wouldn't mind." Kalos still didn't make any sounds or movement, but his face flushed after hearing that. And Nash quickly clarifies, realizing the insinuation. I mean your own rooms. I suppose I shall go. I need to visit Klain and talk with him for a bit. He has an important duty to do, though rather dull sitting in a room alone for long periods of time. That's where Morstead was, so he should be back soon. It really was nice seeing you." She would start to stand up, but Kalos interjects quickly. "Wait." She settles back in her chair and waits for him to speak, fidgeting with her hair. Kalos would quickly pace back and forth for a few moments, muttering as if searching for the right words to say. It seems like he had a whole speech planned, but upon standing in front of her, he has forgotten all of it. After a while, what did it mean? I'm sorry? The dream. What did it mean? For weeks now, I've been teased and constantly thinking about what had happened, and the only person who knows exactly what it meant is you. Ibis was constantly... I hate him. And for years I've... Just be straight with me, Nashtari. Do you actually like me like that? Yes? 10, thank you. A silence falls for a moment. Kalos is stunned by how directly Nash answered his question. Nash speaks up. "Perhaps I should clarify what happened. I was afraid that something terrible was going to happen here. To me. And I didn't want something to happen to me without you knowing how I felt. But I realize now that wasn't fair to you. I put an additional stress on you, and I shouldn't have. I've liked you for quite a while now. Very much. More than just a friend. In the dream, I wanted to say that, but the words were escaping me. Just like that day when I left the Fae. I couldn't leave you like that again, so I kissed you on the cheek. Having said that, you needn't reciprocate. Kalos starts to walk towards her, but says nothing. Nash, noticing his advance, I had no idea what your true feelings were. Ibis was teasing me as well, but I had no idea if he was being serious about what he said. Well, that doesn't matter what he says. He just continues his advance. If you don't like me in the same way, it's truly fine. Nothing will change. Our interactions will be respectful and cordial. I won't ever, ever approach you like that again. It was far too forward of me to. He is standing in front of her at this moment. Nash looks away, messes with her hair shyly, and is blushing wildly. I just wanted to let you know how I felt. If I could take it back, I would. She's cut off. There's tears in her eyes, as if her fears were about to be actualized. But he pulls her in for a kiss. One that lasts for quite a while, it feels like to them. After a moment, they release, stare at each other, faces bright red. Kalos takes a step back. There, he says, avoiding eye contact and covering his face with his hand. I needed to get payback is all. We're even now. I see. At first she was disappointed, but then she looks towards Kalos, noticing he was hiding under a bravado. Seems like he's been wanting to do that for quite a while. Look, I don't know this town as well as you, so maybe you could recommend something to me? Well, outside of the taverns, there is the Theater of the Mind. They just reopened for the public, and it is an interesting experience. And the Library of Plains has a lot of interesting books that I haven't seen in the Fae, so it could be interesting reading. There's a friend of ours, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind assistance. You'll need to be more specific. Kalos scratches the back of his head, not making eye contact still. Could you, show me where that theater place is, maybe? Haken is gonna be helping out Thar right now, so if you want... Nash smiles warmly and nods. As she stands up, he cocks his head to the side and says, I'm sorry, but are you shorter now? Well, magic can be a bit wild sometimes. As they walk, their hands would brush a few times and eventually interlace.
Adorable.
Congratulations. It's
Cute.
adorable.
Yay!
Thank you.
That was good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Wow.
Thank you for sitting through my diabetes-inducing stuff.
I was like, you did all that work, and now I want to. Don't like tease me like that, jeez.
I could have just sent it to you guys individually. It was fine.
You still have more to read over.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, she ain't
When
done.
things start to stabilize and quiet down, Nash would begin to prepare to go back to the Fae, both to check in with her circle in place of Erevan, as well as get books for Klain the next time she goes to visit.
yeah.
Part of these preparations include having trees planted at locations to find her friends when she does have time to visit. We're gonna skip that part because we said the long version.
Mhm.
When getting back to the Feywild, she would set aside time to talk with Suresh regarding Klain and his potential conflict with the Fey Queen, expressing concerns about his safety for the foreseeable future. She will do whatever she can to calm the situation, especially seeing that the son should not be held accountable for the father's actions. However, if it's okay for me to interject here, Suresh would go and tell Klain that that is a terrible idea, that he should not go to the Fae. Over
Damn
the
it.
50 years,
Sorry, Klain.
over the 50 years, I have one more thing that I must do on my end that I'm excited to share with you guys. Let's just do this real quick. There we go. Model change.
Aww.
Nice.
Yes. Over the next 50 years, Nashtari is leading her circle as the head druid, while Erevan enjoys a well-deserved retirement. She would lead the circle with the wisdom from her mentor, the tenacity she learned from her adventures, and the compassion she has kept within her heart no matter what. I'm ad-libbing slightly here. She introduced 2 new goals of the circle, where she aims to have the circle assist in bringing balance and peace to those who desperately need it, as well as assist those with learning aura, as she has learned how to use aura herself. She has decided to keep her name she has had for years, but added Irith as her middle name to honor her parents who wanted to name her. If and when she is needed to be discreet with people, she would often sign letters with the name Irith, since only a select few knew. Adari stars were always kept on Nash, and she intends to pass them down through her bloodline when she determines the time was right. She and Kalos eventually marry, after many, many, many years, and have twins. A Kalashtar boy named Terran, and a fawn named Nerith. I don't know if you're sharing it.
I'm showing the
I
players.
did! Okay, good. Good. They're adorable.
Cute.
As they grew up, Nerith would take on the disposition of her father, while Terran had the disposition of his mother. Due to Terran being born Kalashtar, Nashtari's mother decided to take the role of watching over her grandson. Uncle Haken and Grandpa Erevan, as they began to be called by the twins, helped keep watch over the two when Nashtari and Kalos were otherwise overwhelmed. At the end of the 50 years, the two would be 16. Terran would follow in the steps of his mother and father and become a Circle of Dreams druid, while Nerith decided to forge her own path as a Fey Wanderer Ranger. Due to the introduction of auras to the world, Nash's kids would gain ones of their own. Nerith would adopt a pink aura like her mom, and Terran adopts a white aura. When she would have time between her duties and responsibilities, she goes to the material plane to meet with all of her newfound friends, participate in any life-changing events. She continues to keep a close eye on the world and planes, ever watchful for if Kite decides to cause chaos again, and should they ever, will answer the call. Her name at the end of the campaign is Nashtari Irith Silverleaf.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Nice.
Thank you for
Alright.
sitting through all my stuff.
Oh, it's lovely.
Thank you for your TED Talk.
Thank you.
The Aura allies and armaments. The party's connections to Aura, powerful allies that either borrowed auras or functioned as a transfer for them or a pseudo-patron. Njaal's tattoo granted a connection to an ancient sea dragon. This sea dragon was known as Typhoon. And to the rest of the world, the sea barrier of Terendell, a protector of the land set in place eons ago and pulled from the vast seas in the plane of water. However, its lifespan is coming to a close, and Aether saw an opportunity to connect the two together before that moment. Typhoon finally reaches out in full to Njaal after the passing events. He had imparted a fragment of his soul into Njaal's tattoo and acted as a transfer of sorts for the aura he obtained. During the passing years, he passes a message along to Njaal. Long ago, he had made a pact much with someone like himself, protecting these lands from those who would wish harm. Be wary, as I do not know what has become of the rest of the world over these decades. Klain. Although you only spoke briefly in your adventures, Lepi had been by your side for some time. A fey creature known as a Papillona. A Thylin, a divine servitor of Desna. You sought out her divine aid, and whether you realized it or not, it was her influence that helped you out along your journey and granted you as much luck as she could muster. It was through the blessing of Desna and her follower living inside of your clover that you were granted your aura. Lepi, she shares a message with you to tell all of your close compatriots. With auras flowing naturally into the world, These connections are no longer needed, and over the next 50 years will slowly cease to function. Ayaki,
Damn.
Enna had been in your head for quite some time now, forcing different perspectives that you thought improbable. She has come to your aid a few times. However, unlike the others, she did not function as a patron through divine means. She informs you that your aura was obtained through borrowed methods, the means known as an aura cage. Seeing as auras are naturally coming to this world, Enna kindly asks if she can return the yellow aura to its proper owner. I need your answer.
I think she would agree.
She likely says yes, and thanks Ayaki, and informs her that she won't be able to contact her as frequently anymore. Surely something that Ayaki celebrates, no longer having a prodding, antagonistic voice in her head. Although I suppose that's now been replaced by Klain's these days.
I think it would be weird though for her at first because she's so used to Enna in her head.
Regardless, she says her goodbyes and parts ways from her. Ayaki, what aura color do you want?
Ooh. Ooh.
Let me bring these back up. I need to make sure I pick a good one.
Interesting question.
As with the steady
Yeah.
flow of aura into the world, it would be one that is attuned to you. So you can stay with yellow, or you can decide to change in this moment.
Let me see. I'm going to say, let's see, that's 10. I'm going to go with a blue.
All right.
Ooh.
Ayaki
Ooh.
gains a natural blue aura. I have noted that. Ralis and Ravi. A unique pair for sure. Ravi does not gain some flash of insight and continues to simply live on. However, what does become apparent over the years is that Ravi is beginning to age. Small wrinkles forming around their beak as years pass. Their once gleaming wings start to begin to fade over time. Ravi too will come to pass, as all creatures do. It is not something Ravi is sad about, though. Their life was cut short in their previous, and they were granted a second chance with Ralis. Their grand adventures and years of hard-earned relaxation have made it all worth it. Ralis, would you like to go over your epilogue? I keep saying backstory.
Well, I did already, so
You
yeah.
did, because I moved it, so let me delete that.
Yes, you moved me up.
I had moved it.
Yes, so I will amend anything as far as like
Yes.
my ability to do Phoenix Rise based on that, but yes.
Yes. Ravi will pass shortly after the 50-year time skip.
Oh, okay.
The war. As you're all aware, after the fall of Vostraz, relative to Sura, whose soul was absorbed by Lyra's weapon, there was still heavy resistance by their forces. The towns to the south, a war had started, which controls Kar Unbla, the remains of Adel Keep, and the sentinel city of Karst, against Tenbai, Tambora, Larosi, and Cardi. Vostraz's faction, which was better known as the Crimson Keepers, and the other towns, which had formed an alliance known as the Ivory Alliance. The war was coming to nearly a stalemate on both sides, with everyone taking heavy casualties. That is, until an unexpected aid came from the Plane of Fire. Thanks to the request of Nashtari, after her aid, who asked for the aid of the Sultaness, she made well on her promise. With the aid of those who were commonly resistant or immune to fire, their aid was key in the victory of the Ivory Alliance.
10 out of 10 would do again.
And now we're gonna go through these three. Zavine.
I'll go first. All right. It's a short one, I promise.
All these are
Zavine
short.
would
Oh yeah, they're short.
Zavine would continue to serve the Sultaness proudly. During breaks, she would talk with Igni and continue to teach him in the ways of how to have a personality. She would introduce Igni to her sister eventually. Zavine's sister would grow to be a respected culinarian in the Plane of Fire, serving a new twist on fire steaks. When Vark reaches out to Zavine regarding any employment opportunities, Zavine hires him under her as he has proven to be both a fierce ally as well as someone incredibly respectful to her.
Speaking of, Vark.
Oh, and Varg. See, you saw how much of a cool badass Zavine is, and how not as cool Captain was, and so he realized he'd been sheltered in his little gang lifestyle in the Flakuza the whole time. So he offered his services to Zavine.
And Igni.
Igni would continue in the service of Sura as part of the harem and their lead researcher. As a being with a near infinite lifespan, 50 years is simply a blink of an eye to them. They would continue to research who they are and how they came to being, as well as trying to track down any others like them, in hopes to find answers. They would continue to try and increase their rank in the harem, simply so they could get more maids and servants they could make researchers. They would aid in the study of aura, at the behest of Sura. When Ayaki reaches out to them for assistance, they would travel to the material plane for the first time. While there, they gain a purple aura attributed to blue. After they were no longer needed, they took their knowledge that they had gained back to the Plane of Fire to assist with their transition with aura. Igni would continue their friendship, a newer concept that they've learned about, with Zavine. They would eventually come to grasp the concept of sarcasm and humor with her help, though they're not very good at them. Their way of speaking would slowly change to have more emotion and empathy, as opposed to the cold and calculating manner that they had always spoken in. Over time, they would gain more and more human-like ways of acting and habits, though they would still value rationale and logic more than emotion and feeling.
And with that, I have come to the end of my document. So, unless there is any closing remarks you guys want to make, that wraps it up.
Thank you for the story.
Good story, Sam.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks.
It's an amazing campaign.
And in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, in
Woo!
like 2.5 weeks, we will pick up with the story that is possible thanks to this party.
Woo!
And we
Hooray!
will have the level 21 shot with High Advisor Khadij going into the Plane of Chaos, into Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Looking forward
Sometimes
to
it pays to devote all of your freaking turns to healing a dragon.
it.
yeah, you guys
Yeah.
did,
Both Morrison and I
Everything.
keep him alive.
yeah.
Right?
Shoving potions down his throat
Don't
over
die! Yeah.
Polymorph!
We used so many resources keeping that man alive during that fight.
Yeah.
We tried so hard
Yeah.
and succeeded.
We did.
Uh-huh.
It was worth it. But man, did we use up a lot of stuff trying to
Yeah.
keep that guy alive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's been
goodness me.
between the two campaigns with you guys. Klain's arc was basically a second campaign.
Yeah, at this length, absolutely.
And,
Oh, yeah.
The first campaign,
Hi, I'm new.
all of Terendell, being like the last decade of my life. We're finally going to start exploring the rest of the world.
Ooh.
Hey, let's go.
So
Yeah.
there'll be plenty of one-shots and mini stories that I have in mind. I'll be inviting you guys, other people, as well as I'm going to try to get some new faces in. So I look forward to getting all of you guys involved in the new stuff. And look forward to where I can put all these wonderful toys you guys have given me. So many children to put throughout the world.
We did
Be
give a lot of
gentle.
children.
Many
Yeah.
Be
children.
gentle
Yeah.
with my kids. They
We
have
gave
a
you what?
chokehold
See,
on my
we gave you
the
heart.
key
basically
is
a
just
full
to not
party.
have any kids, and then it's all
You've
good.
given me so many toys to play with, and also I have an Aichi out there somewhere who's gonna be an old man.
Somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
World.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
gonna be
dude,
like
he-
almost 80 by the
he
time
will
the next
be
campaign
old.
comes
He'll be an
out.
old man.
75. He's
Yeah.
75 by this time,
Damn.
Skip.
Yeah, he will be an
Yeah.
old man.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
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 Okay, so does this make the ocean in the middle of the map now a sea?
Aha!
it is a. Yes, it is. It is a sea. It is
Okay.
seawater.
I just wanted to, just for my own sanity's sake, I wanted to make
Yes.
sure.
The yeah. If I just transition over to, let's go to Terendell maps. Which this map
This
is.
map, I've only seen this like 3 times.
This map is going to be recreated and simplified.
Oh yeah.
This map was made so long ago when I was like,
It's an old map.
It's beautiful.
It is very
though.
old.
first
It's
getting
lovely, though, yes.
into doing stuff in Incarnate. Like, this map is so old. But this map will be remade. Some changes will need to be made to the other maps because of changes in Melremark and such. So I have, it's been a hot minute since you've probably seen this sign.
I found it funny at the beginning of this campaign, guys, when I found out how like long it would take from Nash to travel from the Fey portal to Malaramark. But I'm like, but there's mountains. Couldn't I just, fly? And he's like, no, there's an angry dragon there. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go the long way.
Can't forget about the angry
Yeah.
dragons. Yeah, makes it a little bit more
Very angry
difficult.
dragon.
Inadvisable.
So angry.
Yeah. So
I
this
see.
this needs recreated. It's been way too long.
It's like what?
And then
the
there's
travel
Bricka,
was,
which
like,
is the
2 weeks?
like one that you and
Love our
Becky made, I
Bricka
think.
map.
I love that map.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
just a simple thing Becky made.
It looks
Um,
like a city planner's map.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is. It was
Yeah.
like a city planned map.
Mhm.
I wonder if incarnate maps show when you made them. Oh, that'd be interesting.
I
Maybe?
do think they have like a last edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the last edit is gonna be different from when it was made.
They should have it when it was originally created
know.
too.
AJ says if you publish them, yes.
Well, I didn't publish it. Let's see. The remake of the world map was 5 years ago. Last edited 4 years ago.
Dang.
It does have a created by date.
If you hover over it, it says created X number of years. So.
Yeah, it was created
Wow.
5 years ago.
Been a minute.
Hot minute.
Damn. Oh my god.
I'm looking at
Get
I'm looking
out
at
of your
mine and I'm
box.
like, how did I already banned them?
Thank you. You beat me to it. I need to add like a
Yeah.
certain phrase to my
Dang
auto
you
ban.
fast.
Well, the problem with adding phrases is that anyone who says it would end up triggering it.
Well, the other problem is that they'll do the same phrase, but they'll put accents over different letters
Yeah,
to avoid the bot.
To avoid that, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, anyways, so that's it.
Honestly, the best way to avoid them is to put on follower only mode, but that's
Yeah.
I said this once before, you'll probably hear me say it a billion times. Thank you for having me along.
Yes. I wouldn't have wanted it without any of you. I'm not running a long campaign with 6 players again. But I would not want to have it any other way. As anyone not being here, the story would have been vastly different. So.
You guys could have done it without me.
Lies.
Klain's
Yeah,
arc
do
without
Klain's arc
Klain.
without
Gee,
Klain.
I wonder
Yeah.
why we postponed this.
Why this wasn't 3 sessions in the middle
Someone
Yeah, why it
joined the
wasn't a
military.
3-session tournament arc, and instead ended up being a 52 session.
If we count the epilogue, it's 53.
Yeah.
You
That's
know-
full-on- that's full-on
Wow.
campaign.
Yeah.
You know?
It really was.
Basically. Actually, though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm still sad I wasn't able to be here for Rawliss's arc, but
It's okay. After the
thank
13
you.
years, you can come visit my parents. You'll meet them. So it'll be fine.
yeah, that's why I
Finally.
specifically called out, your hometown, because
Yeah.
I'm sure Klain would
Yeah.
know, but I don't.
Because yeah, we go to my hometown, and then
wanna
I'd be
see it.
like, yeah. I
Yeah.
I could bring them to you too, actually. But no, but yeah, if you're like 13 years, like, all right, so hey, this is that guy I talked about a long time ago, like the Klain guy here. This is him. Yes,
This
that
is
one.
one, by the way.
This is that guy.
As a side
We're
note,
great friends.
Oh yeah.
I had a calendar created for this, which you avoided. So there was a total of 5 Eruption of Void events. You avoided 3 of them by helping Pure. Because one of them you guys weren't here for. By doing the Plane of Air, you guys avoided over time hostility was going to grow throughout the town. Fights were going to become common, then there was going to become guards actively preventing large gatherings and things, to the point where if you guys hadn't done the rod on the 4th competitive round, there would have been a riot during the arena fight.
Dang.
Damn.
That would have been
Wow.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Okay. Hey, good job, guys. We definitely avoided the bad.
That would have been bad.
We did a good
Yep.
job.
Yeah, you guys
Oh,
We
yeah.
did a good
Honestly,
job.
we
The
did
only-
really good.
gotta
The only plane we didn't help was the plane of Earth, and honestly, they were kind of being assholes. So
Yeah, fuck the
didn't
plane of
deserve our
Earth
help.
anyway.
I kind of deserve it. Yeah.
we want the boon. We'll do all kinds of crime to help it.
The only thing, the one thing I had for the Plane of Earth that never panned out was go into a shop that had a gin or similar, and getting one of you guys to fall into using the word wish, and then being wished away somewhere. But that one never really happened.
Oh,
That would have been really
Oh.
funny though.
That would have been a
Hilarious.
silly shenanigan.
But
Did we
yeah,
never go to their shop?
No,
it
we
never, It was more so the timing never felt right. It was one of those things that I kind of had as a DM if I wanted to pull it, but it never felt right.
I mean, to be fair, aside from ordering the armor, everything we did in the Plane of Earth was very serious.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
We were there with
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
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 The only shopping we did was to hide while I was talking to the guard.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You should have pulled it on us then.
That would have been crazy.
That would
Fucking
have been
chaotic.
mean.
That's so fucking funny.
Crazy.
Just appear in
Yeah.
front of them.
In the middle of us executing this fairly thought out plan,
Mhm.
guys, Where did y'all go?
I wish for some water.
Oh no.
You wish for water, a place that has water. Your wish to a place nearby water. You're at the beach.
That's
Pretty nice
forgiving.
here.
I would have put
Oh,
him
I
in
was
a
thinking
plane
throw
of
him in a plane of
water.
water.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally plane of water.
I mean,
Or like
yeah.
on the ocean somewhere. Yeah, poofed out in the
Yeah.
ocean.
Middle of
In
the
the
ocean.
middle of the middle of the water of the plane of
You
water.
end up
not
at the
even
Tower
in
of
the
Lamash
capital.
too, just in the middle of the sea.
Right. Just by the water.
That would be awful.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
See if
go
we can
ahead.
find another book.
I'm gonna go ahead and send the
Make
raid
more
out
wise.
and stream.
Yeah.
Thank
that
you
sounds
guys.
Like,
it's been a lot of fun.
You.
Thank
Super
you.
It was
Super
so
camping.
good. Thank you,
And
dude.
I only cried twice.
By the way, a cool model.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also.
Model's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will post in Klain's art chat. Crumbs did the concept art, and the art. I am getting an artist to do a fan art for me of both campaign Nash and future Nash.
We love art here.
And
Love
that'll be done sometime in May, hopefully.
Mhm.
Good luck.
Good.
Yeah,
luck.
no kidding. All right.
All right. Well, the next long form transition. There we go. That was weird. Well, the next long form campaign will be a bit off. A handful of other things in between, but I can't wait to explore all the wonderful stories I've been given with the children. Good night. Goodbye. And we're gonna go ahead and send the raid out to Pixel. See ya.